Well, of course, I know who you have, but a lot of students may not necessarily know who you are. So would you mind, like, who is Shotunde Oladimeji?
All right. Thank you very much, Otega. I think I must start by appreciating what you are doing. I've been seeing your projects here and there. And if there's one thing that is largely incontrovertible, it's going to be the fact that you are definitely impacting lives with your initiatives. And I'm especially happy for the undergraduates that would be the beneficiaries of the book you just launched, amongst all other projects you are up to. So back to myself, my name is Oladimeji Shotunde. I am a recent graduate of Legal State University, of course, from the Faculty of Management Sciences, Department of Business Administration. I graduated with a 4.95 CGPA on a 5.0 scale.
Wow.
And of course, currently I'm working towards a career in management consulting, entrepreneurship, and of course, social advocacy. So that's just a little bit about myself.
Wow, that is just amazing. When I hear you say, I graduated with a 4.95 on a 5.0 scale, I was like, gosh, like for real, like this is actually really amazing. And then it looks like something very insurmountable to a lot of students. Like, so what's your backstory? Have you always been smart from primary school or secondary school? Have you had similar results like this before even getting admission in LASU?
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the question, Ortega. To start with, I would say that my story has been one of up and down,
Okay.
inconsistency, up until I discovered myself when I was in primary school. Of course, I had potential. I was a head boy in primary school. When I got to secondary school, perhaps, deviations, playfulness, and stuff like that, I was not really there. Precisely my junior secondary school days, JSS1 to JSS3. In fact, at some point, I think I took 20th position. My teacher, blasted me then that the major, what are you turning into, blah, blah, blah. Then I noticed that SS1, when the consciousness was gradually, coming in, I think I was one top in the commercial department then. And then I wrote my GCE when I just completed SS1 going to SS2, and I passed remarkably, and that's what I'm even using till date. I had
Wow.
3 A's, 3 B's, and 2C's. So I would say that I am intelligent, fine and good. But if there is a distinction between talent and hard work. If talent does not work, hard work with in no time, what's it called? Trample upon you and beat you to
Exactly.
it. So
Exactly.
I would say that the thing is everyone is good, but depend on how well we utilize our time, how well we harness the resources at our disposal. So that's just my story. It's been one of inconsistency, but after some time, I became consistent, and of course, that was what led me to where I am today. Thank you.
Wow, that's really amazing. So, when you gain admission in LASU, for example, with I don't know how many students were in your class then. Do you still have the
Okay.
number in mind?
Yes, we are 200. I think yeah, 200.
200. Interesting. So imagine 200 students from different background, different institutions. Some went to like really standard private school. Some went to public school where there are several competitions and they still did well. Like, so imagine
Hmm.
sitting in a class of 200 competitive brains, like very amazing. And like, what really was your mindset? Did you see yourself that, yeah, sure, today you're really going to be the best graduating student in LASU,
Hmm.
the whole of LASU, not even the best students in this class, like in the whole of LASU. Yeah,
Okay, I think the irony of it all is that upon gaining admission into the Lagos State University,
yeah.
my mindset was just go into this system and get the best out of the system. In fact, I was not even targeting in first class. The exposure was not really there, although I had I had this serious mindset. Of course, my dad, he was very strict and everything, so I knew where I was coming from. But when I got to the system, there was not much emphasis on the first class, but I got to the system. I took time to understand the system, understand my environment, which is the most important thing. And then when the first semester results came out, I was on a 4.78. I think it's very much important that I state that at that point, I was not even the one topping the department.
Wow.
In fact, I was not the first, I was not the second.
Wow.
I started with the 4.78. There were persons that started with 5.0, 4.91, 4.8 something, but I started with the 4.78. But still yet, my mind was not really on BGS or whatsoever. My mind was just on, okay, yeah, wow, 4.7, okay, I think I can make it first class. That was why, to date, 4.7 was the least I had. Ever since then, I had always been going up, going up, going up. So that's
Wow.
just it.
Wow, interesting. So, with what you just said, it's more like you're setting a goal to beat your previous records, and then you've been consistent with your goals and all. So, like I've come to discover, like, when I was in Ojotsu, I was this firing student, and and I've got a lot of friends too that are this crazily amazing firing students. So, but after a while, many of them just get a drop, maybe because of the inconsistency or because of their recent association. Like, who were the kind of people in your association?
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for that question, Ortega. In fact, it's a very, very important question because
Mm,
whether you like it or not,
yeah,
your association would either make or mar your future. It would either
true,
make or
true.
mar your grades. So for me, but one thing I did was, it's a very striking thing. I didn't follow the conventional path, For people
Mm,
that they wanted the first class or what have you, they would only concern themselves with getting scholars or what have you. I
true, true.
balanced personality. I had the socialite, I had the pastor, I had everything in my association. And that
Wow.
was what helped be an all-around personality because when I want to read, I know who to go to. When I want to socialize, I know who to go to. When I need spiritual advice or what have you, I know who to go to. So I kept the
Mm,
balanced association. That was what led to what we call Excel Minds Enclosed.
mm,
So under
mm,
Excel Minds Enclosed, we had about 14 persons in that team. It was like a study group. But within
wow.
that 14 persons, we had the socialites, we had the unserious person, as I would choose to call it, we had the scholars, we had everything. It was there's nothing you would look for that you wouldn't see in that association. So to
Mm,
a large extent, my association really helped me towards realizing my personal aspirations and goals.
mm. Very good. So, this is actually very, very tactical, and then to some people risky. Joining. You said something about some scholars will have to um, change the association from maybe the normal average students to just scholars. Like their friends will be scholars. They discuss with scholars. They discuss scholastic stuff alone. But you still mingled with a whole lot of people. You've got the socialites, you've got the pastors, you've got a lot of people, part of even the very unserious ones, part of the association. And that was what Beth, your tutorial platform that is still on campus. That's actually a very fantastic project. And like what was, if you don't have that strong influence, they're gonna influence you, right? So like what was that vision you saw?
Okay, what was that vision I saw in what context?
Okay, the vision, I mean, like, how did you feel like these guys will not influence me to becoming unserious?
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
So, yeah.
All right, to start with, we must understand that no one can influence you other than you. That's just one, sad reality.
Mm,
So
mm,
that's why
mm,
when people
mm,
tell me, "Oh, I'm being influenced by my association. My friends are making me do what I don't want to do." That is because you yourself you want to do it. That's just the fact. The most important
mm,
thing is what we call intentionality. You have to be intentional in everything you do,
mm,
and everything boils down to mindset.
yeah.
If I don't want to smoke, you can't force me to smoke. If I don't want to
Mm,
romanize, you can't force me to romanize. So everything boils down to your preconceived notion, what you yourself you want to do. So what didn't make them to influence me was that I was on top of the situation. I knew what I wanted for myself. I knew that, oh, if I want to read, oh, this is the time I should dedicate for reading. Oh, if I want to socialize this time. So what happens is that when you see people deviate, they have
yeah.
injected something, and that thing is what we call extremism. You don't do
Mm,
things to the extreme. You must not be too serious to the extreme. You must not be too social to the extreme. You must not be too churchy to the extreme. You have to maintain a balance, and that was what helped me.
wow. That's actually a very fantastic illustration. Knowing how to maintain a balance. I think that's really going to lead to the next question of balance. Balance is one crazy topic students have got a lot of questions. Okay, fine, you could look at them and say, hey guy, if you want to really build yourself, or if you want to become or stand a higher chance of getting a job or after graduation, or you want to
Okay.
be at least 10 steps ahead of your contemporaries after graduation, you should do a extracurricular activity, or you should be an exception in your field, right? And many of them be like, yeah, it's good, it's a fantastic idea, but how can I really maintain balance? Like, if you want me to be an academia, for example, then I'll stop going to church, right? I just give it all my best shots. I stop going to mosque, I give my best shots. Or if you want me to, let's say, do extracurricular, I'll stop reading. I'll also stop relationship. I'll just stop a whole lot. So the question of balance is a crazy question. And you did a lot of stuff on personal development, capacity building, on influencing people, on creating massive movement on campus, on still lifting other people up, which is also very amazing. And you ended up becoming the best graduating student with 4.95. Crazy stuff, true. So how did you maintain balance? What's your secret?
Oh, thank you for the question once again, Ortega. I don't know why I like that name, Ortega. So to start with, I would
Yeah.
say that it's highly important that we communicate to undergraduate that there is always a clear distinction between intelligence and brilliance.
Mm,
And for you to thrive out there, you need intelligence, you don't need brilliance. I've always been saying this in all my interviews, that brilliance is when you know like you know everything about something. When we are talking of law, you know everything about law, brilliance,
mm,
fantastic. But it becomes more profound when you are intelligent. That is, you know something about everything. When we are talking of social impact, you know
mm,
something about it. We are talking of the Bible, you know something about it. We are talking
mm,
of the Quran, you know something about it. We are talking of traveling, conferencing, you know something about it. We are talking of book itself. That is what that's what you being phenomenal.
mm,
So
mm,
about how we can now maintain a balance, it's very simple. It's by being rigid with your timetable, with your schedule, you knowing what you want. Dedicate, okay, this total number of hours I'm going to dedicate to so thing this week. This is number of hours I'm going to, based on priority. It's not just about you setting your priorities. And more importantly, moving with the right caliber of people. I spoke about my association,
yeah.
that for the fact that my association was already balanced, it's much more easier for me to live a balanced life already. Don't forget that you tend to become, the combined average of those you work with. So if I'm moving with the scholar, with the socialite, with the churchy person, I would definitely have an atom or element of all of these people in me. So that's another way you can maintain a balanced personality or a balanced lifestyle when those you are moving with already incorporate or they encompass that thing you really want to be. So that's
Mm,
just how I'm going to answer that question.
mm. How about the aspect of, okay, you said about one have to manage one's time, one have to be rigid with one schedule. Will you give us a
Okay.
frame on how your ideal day looks like?
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
when you were a
Okay. In
student.
fact, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. I do say that I read just 1 hour a day, although I don't advise people to read 1 hour a day because we have different, capacity or what have you. But by being
Yeah,
rigid, for instance, while I was in school during my undergraduate days, I devote weekends to personal study. Okay, this is what I want to do.
yeah.
Okay, I want to make plans. Okay, my project, Excel minds. Okay, maybe Friday evening, I want to socialize, I'll sit with it's just about you having your schedule, it's not something you can dictate to people, but you must just have
True.
a time set aside for everything. Okay, I want to socialize. In fact, there's nothing bad in you going for parties, going for clubs. It's just that in Nigeria here, we feel once you hear club, maybe, this person should be a wayward person. But out there, in advanced countries, clubbing is
Exactly.
a way of networking, meeting people, even in the industry. You see top executives or companies, they go to club, not at this club where they smoke Igbo.
Yeah,
I'm
I
talking of club.
understand, right?
Yeah. But
I
where you
guess.
don't have money to go to that club, you can hang around, socialize. That's a way of even adding to your capacity, networking, meeting people. So, but the bottom line is just have a rigid timetable, have a rigid template, know what you want to do at, so time. That's
Wow.
just it.
Wow, very amazing. Now you said you read 1 hour per day. That is mind blowing. You read 1 hour per day and then you ended up becoming the best graduate. Is it that when you go to class when lecturer is teaching, you pay cool attention to everything that was taught in class, you ask question appropriately, or like how is it possible? Yeah, I know people who read
Okay.
4 hours, 6 hours, and they're still not the best graduating student. Like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is, most people, they tend to read when the examinations are already coming, very close. What I do is right from the start of the semester, I devote time to reading, just like perhaps 1 hour a day, 30 minutes, just ensure I gain something that day. But don't forget that I control Excel Mind. Another Excel Mind is part of what we do is that we offer free tutorial and academic services. So by me taking my colleagues right from maybe third or fourth or fifth week into the semester, it's a way of enriching myself. So when the examination comes, I don't need to read something you get. I just need to revise, especially for those calculation courses. Because if you are taking tutorials doing this, people bring challenges and problems to you. So when examination comes, all you just need to do is maybe just increase that 1 hour slightly for a comprehensive revision. So when I say I read 1 hour, I'm talking about I started reading 1 hour early in the semester, not a day to the examination as people might think. So that I would always advise that people, embrace early studies so that when the examination approaches, you don't need to, because this brain, there's limits. I do tell people that examination period is always a time for you to relax your brain. That is when I play. I listen to music. I'll be dancing in my room during examination period because I know that that's the time I need to just make my, some examination questions, they don't need you to cram. They just need you to be in the right state of mind to answer them. That's just logic.
Sure. Yeah, you're very correct about being in the right state of mind. I remember preparing for one very tasking exam. I think our second professional exam. I had to change my wallpaper to that of a doctor to make me feel like, okay, Ortega, you've got to answer this question like a doctor. Like, I had to be in that mindset, like, forget about you not knowing the answer, just be a doctor. What would a doctor do? All this kind of stuff. So, and that was what really helped me. Yeah. So it's a very, very, very amazing strategy. So how did you build a massive movement on campus? There are some students who have got one or two ideas, who even started tutorials, XYZ, and they really want to build influence on campus. Yeah, and they really don't know how. Like, how did you do it? It could have just been it could have just been in your class alone, but this is something that is outliving you. So how did you do it? Like, what's your strategy?
All right, thank you for that. That was a very, very important question. Yes, what I did was that, okay, let me say, this is a secret. The secret is just two things. You have to possess two things, or let me call it two attributes, which is one, humility and interpersonal relations. Let me explain the aspect of humility. When I got into the Lagos State University as a fresher, a freshman, because I don't think fresher is correct, as a freshman, there are some seniors, they do come take us tutorials, calculus, stuff like that. After some time, after I take 1 semester or 2 semesters, I myself, I don't know how I did it, but I got them to work under Excel minds, my seniors. They were working under Excel minds as a
Wow.
So after I reflected on it, I saw that it was like my humility. The way I do approach them, oh sir, wow, thank you so much, hey boss, excellence. And then we had a lot of slogans. I was always inventing slogans, distinguished, excellency, or gamisa, So humility a huge part. And if there's one thing you must understand is this: you must make people feel like they are part of something. You must make people feel that they are appreciated. Inclusiveness. That was what helped me. I was very humble. Everybody, now, if I'm talking with an undergrad level student, hey boss, sir, come in. That's just my lifestyle. Because it doesn't take away anything from me.
Yeah.
If I'm in school, I bow, hey boss, I bow. It doesn't make me shorter. So I would say that humility played a part because, when people say that, wow, this guy is humble, and he approached me for so, he wants me to join his team. Why will I say no? He gets, that is one. Then another thing are personal relations.
Yeah.
I was able to build relationship with everyone around me, my lecturers, student alike, university management. That's one thing about understanding your environment. Knowing the requirement is very important. It goes beyond you just being brilliant. You must understand your environment. This environment, what do they want? What am I expected of this environment? Who are the personalities involved? How should I, everything boils down to understand your environment. So I would say that to a large extent, interpersonal relations really helped me. I was able to understand the environment, just as I said earlier. I understood my friends, my colleagues, my classmates. I understood those I wanted to work with, and I knew how to, build a relationship with them. One thing you must
Yeah.
understand that the relationship must always be symbiotic.
Yeah,
That
of
is, it
course.
must be beneficial to both parties. So I created a
Mm.
relationship that people could benefit from me, and I could also benefit from them. But to sum up your question, what helped me in birthing influence was humility and, of course, interpersonal relations. You can't underestimate those two very important attributes.
Wow, wow, wow. Those key attributes are actually what a lot of people lack, and they are very, very important to building massive influence and then creating a movement on campus. Thank you so much, Oladimeji. That's actually very fantastic. So now, if you look at an undergrad who just gained admission or a fresher, and he comes to you and
Okay.
say, Mr. Oladimeji, Excellence is distinguished and all. And like I read through your story. I'm being blown away. What's your advice to me? How will you advise me?
Okay, the first thing I will tell the person is be
Yeah.
you, be yourself.
Mm, mm,
Because one thing to understand is that no two stories are the same.
sure.
So that's why I do talk, if I don't mentor people, what I do is that I make friends with people. Because I believe that
Mm,
by making you will definitely pick one or two things from me.
exactly.
So the reason why I emphasize on making friends with people and not mentoring people, that is for me, is because you have your own, there are some things that I can even learn from you. You have your own personality to develop. So
Mm,
there is nothing much more profound than you being original at times and just discovering yourself, just like I did. For instance, I didn't approach a mentor before I got to discover myself, before I created a niche for myself, because I had people I was looking up to, senior colleagues, but I didn't really approach someone directly that will come and mentor me.
mm,
It varies. Everything about life is relative. There are some people mentorship can work for you, but at
yeah.
times it's always important that you do what we call self-reflection and you discover yourself.
Mm,
So if you approach me today, you just get admission, blah blah blah, the first thing I would advise is one, be original.
mm,
Another thing, discover yourself, and you can only discover yourself through self-awareness. What are my competencies? What do I enjoy doing? What are my passion? So that's one thing. I would never advise you that start reading 8 hours, start reading 9 hours, go to the university library. I never went to the university library. I never attended the university library to maybe read or so, but I was comfortable in my room at home. So can you see that our stories are different? But
exactly.
our
Yeah.
destiny is different.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that's just so so odd and very very amazing. Like you did not go to the university library, you studied less than what a lot of students will study, and then you still ended up having a good score. And interestingly, you did not just do academics alone. That a lot of people will think they did. Okay, it's only academics, so you don't have to even go to church again. No, it's just academics. So you don't have to talk to your friends again. No, you don't even have to have any other friends aside from scholars. You defied all those odds, and then you ended up having 4.95 CGPA. So if a student comes to you and says, should I just do academics or should I do extracurricular activity? What would you advise?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I think the answer to that question is very straightforward. I would always spend time any day that a student beyond academics, a student explore other avenues, volunteer, join an association. And I think I must thank you, Ortega, because I could remember that my first volunteering experience, or will I say that, what launched me into
Mm,
the social impact space that I so much pride today is Odd Prize. That was my first volunteering experience, of which you were a major part of it. So I'm using this very platform to thank
thank
you.
Wow, you're
And
welcome.
to those on the ground that will be listening to this, can you see why you need to build a relationship with people? Ortega was one of those that brought me into the social impact space, and I owe him a whole lot. Thank you so much, Ortega. So Odd Prize was my first volunteering experience. So from there, I developed passion for social impact and community engagement, and that was what led to Excel Minds and other projects that I'm affiliated with. So for any undergraduate out there, I would always advocate anytime, any day, that maintain balance between academics and other things. Because the fact is this, You just focusing on academics, we give you a career. You just focusing on social life, we give you a career. You just focusing on social impact, we give you a career. But you know what will give you a life? What will give you a life is the ability to maintain academics with social impact and, of course, community service, social life, and everything. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Shotunde. That's a very fantastic nugget. You just focusing on academics will give you a career. You just focusing on social impact will give you a career. And you just focusing on perhaps extracurricular activities will also give you a career. But what will give you a life is balancing all this stuff, piecing them all together. That's actually a very fantastic one. Yeah. And for the hot prize, I think Shuyemi was the campus director that year. So I was just part of this acting lead and all. I think assistant or thereabout. It's really nice to see what you guys are doing on campus and how you guys took capacity building to the next level. And not just for yourself, but the influence is just so crazy. I know last student did not, every student will not say I'm a capacity builder, but now it's almost everywhere. SDG to Millennium Fellowship to whatever. Like it's actually very, very amazing. Like you guys really left something for last one to learn from and to grow. So, what would be your last advice to any undergrad? This is an amazing interview we've had together. What would be your last advice to any undergrad?
Okay, this will be my advice. My advice is very simple. It is this: do not allow the fear of falling to stop you from jumping. Do not allow the fear of responsibility to stop you from committing. And lastly, do not allow the fear of exposure to stop you from. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much for this show today. This is an amazing interview. Wow, this is so great. I think your parting words, it's very amazing and it's something that's going to go in deep to every undergrad's hearts and help them see the real picture of what life is all about and all. So thank you so much. I believe we're going to have more interviews as time goes by and more wins. Yeah, so
you're welcome. Thank you, Otega, and of course, let me congratulate the undergrads in advance because this project is really a massive one. Thank you so much for bringing me on board.
Yeah, okay, man.